Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome back. You know who I am. I'm Jeanine Staples. I'm the founder of the Supreme Love Project. I'm producer of this powerful, powerful collection of interviews. And I am here with the wonderful Diane Haworth. Diane, welcome to the Relationship Rising Summit.
Oh, I am so excited to be here. I'm excited to be here with you. I'm excited to be here with everybody that we're going to impact today. And I'm just thrilled that there are opportunities like this to help people get to that next level. So thank you.
You are so welcome. I'm thrilled that you could squeeze us in to your busy, busy schedule as this powerhouse that you are. And I'm ready to just dive into it. Let's just get into it. So, Diane, tell us, who are you in the world? What do you do? And how did you come into that work?
Okay. So the quick answer is, just like you, I'm a unique spark of the divine that looks like a mom, a grandmother, a business leader. I am what I call a heart-centered success coach. I've done TV work. I'm an author. And my passion is to help people open up and connect to their own inner divine wisdom through a tool work that I have called the Be Love Principles.
Tell us about that.
You know, because you have interviewed many people, and I know this is something you probably experienced. When you open up in service to that which is greater than you, things happen that you do not expect. And I truly thought I was going to be living my little coach life and taking care of clients and students and really enjoying that because it is my passion. And I started to pray for about 6 months. Show me how to serve. Show me how to be an instrument of your peace. And during a meditation, I got what I call a direct divine download with 4 principles that help people shift from an ego or personality perspective to really see the world through the eyes of love. And as you and I talked about before we came on air, to me, love is the intelligent, expansive, creative energy of all there is.
Love is intelligent. I don't think that love gets enough credit for how smart love is. Love is brilliance, like energetically vibrating. One of the things I say to folks often, Diane, is when you do your inner work to shift your inner world, you get smarter.
Well, yeah, because it's not here. And I'm so glad you said that, because how many times have you heard, I know I've heard it, love hurt me. Love never hurt you. Some jerky guy you used to be married to might have hurt you, but not love. Love can only love, expand. And you're right, it's that intelligence that works through us.
Incredible. So talk to us about your before story. I'm asking each guest expert that I feature, what was your life like? What was your love story like? What were your relationships with yourself and with other people like before you did the work and before you went home and before you went deep?
You know, I would say it was a very small life, and it was defined by fear. There wasn't, my parents did the very best job they could do. They were both very challenged in their own ways. So I never felt really secure. I didn't feel like I could really trust love, but like a lot of women in my generation, I was just waiting for my prince to come up on a white horse. And that just did not work out for me. Multiple times, by the way. But where I had this real shift, I was doing everything I was supposed to do. I was reading the books Oprah told me to read. I was watching the right shows. I was going to church because that's what I was at the time. And I was married to someone who was very, what we would call abusive now. Emotionally, spiritually, sometimes physically. And my life was defined by fear. I was not the best mother. Again, I was reacting from fear more than reacting from love.
So I'd like to go deeper in something that you said. You said that the person you were married to would be qualified as someone who exhibited abusive behaviors towards you now. but I
Right.
doubt that you called it abusive in the marriage. You didn't probably call it violations in the marriage. So let's illuminate that space. Because here's the thing, Diane, lots of women who are engaged in our conversation right now, who are listening to us or watching us right now, either they've been in relationships and if they feel like they were hit by a Mack truck, but they can't identify what was that? Like, how was that? Or they're in a relationship now. It might be a dating relationship, sort of casual. It might be a long-term relationship or even a marriage where they are like, is it me? What's going on here? And people don't necessarily know what qualifies as abuse. So talk to us about that.
So I'm really glad that you asked for that clarification. One of the things that happened was I did not feel like I had freedom of movement. So not necessarily feeling I could go out with friends, not even feeling that I had dominion over my body at times.
Right.
There was this constricted energy. There was not a partnership. There was a, this is what you're going to do kind of thing. And in the environment where I was, I hit it. I had a very responsible job at the time. I was marketing director of a hospital in line to be a VP. Couldn't let anybody know there. I was very competent, good at my work.
Yep.
And there I was safe, but not at home. Not at home. I did not feel safe. I certainly didn't feel safe to speak about my feelings.
Yeah.
Even in therapy, I realized I was ashamed. I was ashamed to tell the whole truth for years.
Yeah. And also there's a feeling of fear. I can remember from my relationships past that were like on the struggle bus, mired in suffering, very dramatic. I also felt shame. I definitely felt fear that if I said what I thought, or if I could find the words to express what I was feeling, because some of the feelings I felt were so jumbled up and complex, I didn't even know if I had the words to describe what I was feeling sometimes. I was very afraid of being rejected by men, very afraid of being abandoned by friends, very afraid that if it was found out that I was having certain experiences in the relationship, that I would be perceived as weak or too much or not good enough. So I'm wondering if that's like what you were experiencing similarly.
Well, there was also just a tremendous sense of failure. Like I had 2 kids. What would, if I left, was I failing them? What was going on with them? I remember trying to speak to my mom, and I was speaking in code, I have to be honest. And she was very blunt. She said, you made your bed, now you lie in it. And I thought, well, okay, you don't really know what's going on, but I couldn't even think that far in advance. I just felt I allowed myself to believe I was a victim of these circumstances. I did not understand the power that I really had. It was so, that's the right word. I was so disempowered. I was just going through the motions and thinking, well, it'll only be another 40 or 50 years and I'll die. It'll be over.
Isn't that amazing?
It's like, it's crazy.
I call them in SLP, in our breakthrough school curriculum, what we do is we call them low logics.
Oh, yes.
You know,
I love that phrase.
Yeah, that's a logical framework that's developed by the most fragmented, disowned, orphaned, wounded part of yourself. And it is a sensibility that can go on and on and on, and you can create earthly evidence for why that logic is true and why it's right and why it's inevitable, unless you interrupt it. So clearly you're not in the same place. Clearly you've made different decisions. Clearly you found your voice, your visibility, you stood on your own 2 feet, you found your faith. What did you actually do to spark change in your relationship to yourself and with others?
You know, the thing that was a real pivot point for me was learning to meditate. When I learned that, it effectively turned off all those little fear voices. I tease my kids now and tell them like there's 6 guys running around in my head and they were all screaming fire at one time. When I learned to meditate, and I truly could connect to the wisdom that was already inside me that, quite frankly, I couldn't hear through all the screaming and the fear. That's when I had the courage. And that's what it took, courage. To leave. That's when I found, I didn't have confidence at first, but I did understand that love would not want this for me. I wouldn't want this for my children.
Right.
And that it was meditation. It really was. That was the turning point for me.
You know, I remember, I'm same meditation. I was not always. I want to talk a little bit about this, especially for folks who are just like, blah, I can't do it. It's not for me. It's too hard. Listen, I would go toe to toe with anyone who has any sort of like hate mongering towards meditation. That used to be me. I'm so cerebral. I'm in my head. I am a thinker, a strategist. I have lots of logics. I can argue a point. And sitting still in silence for 30 minutes, doing breath work, Diane, you couldn't pay me. Until I realized I kept getting the same message over and over and over again. When I said, how do I have better relationships? How do I love myself? How do I feel stronger? What do I do to feel more calm and peace? What? The answers constantly, consistently included meditation.
Yeah.
No matter who I talked to or where I was or what was going on, it was a clearly recurring theme. And so I sort of gave in and started to practice it. And I hated it in the beginning. I would sit there and like pop an eye open and say, is this long enough? Is it over? Or I would pop in and be like, what was I supposed to be doing here? What am I supposed to be thinking about right now? Because I wanted to do it right.
Mm-hmm.
And what I want to say to the woman who doesn't believe in the power of meditation like you and I do is stay the course, invest the time, trust the process, believe the recurring theme that you're hearing over and over and over again. It really does work. It makes a huge difference, even for the people who rejected it and resisted it at first. I now study with Joe Dispenza and I meditate with, you do? Pineal, have you done advanced work? Have you gone to study with him? I mean, pineal gland meditations.
I'm in his last book.
There you go. That's it. I love the pineal gland meditation. I love incorporating breath work. I can meditate for up to 5 hours now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like anything else, right? It's when you start to learn to run, you don't necessarily love it, or lift weights. You may not love it. You may feel stretching of the muscles, the pain, the discomfort. Move through it. I'd love to hear your encouragement for women also around meditation, because it's so pivotal in changing the game.
You know, when I started almost 30 years ago, there was no Joe Dispenza in public domain.
That's right.
It was just, my life was so horrible. I was going to do anything. And this was in a tiny little town here in the South where nobody meditated. We didn't have yoga studios. I mean, it wasn't encouraged. And that pull from spirit, get quiet, be still. I don't even know if I'd be alive. If it certainly would not have the life I have now. I would encourage, just like you, everybody. I will say every meditation style isn't for everyone, but there is a meditation style for each one of you.
100%. Same. I don't know if I can say I would be dead, but I feel like I would be. If I hadn't found my modalities, my praxis, if I hadn't learned to go home, to go up, to connect deeper with spirit, to take my holy text and keep my religion for myself and take it back from the patriarchal, like racist, sexist, misogynistic men who were trying to twist it into like something I didn't recognize. If I didn't stand up for myself and put myself first, invest my money, my time, my faith, my focus in my own salvation and my own thriving practice, I probably would be dead. There's no way I'd have the life that I have now.
That's it. So the life you have now would be dead. And this is one of the things that is pivotal for some people is we all talk, or many of us, I'm sure in your platform, talk about being a mystic. Meditation is how you are your own mystic. You have access to your own divine wisdom. And when people doubt that, we all have one of these. You guys will Google who sang that song, and you don't know how that happens. It's bouncing off a satellite somewhere.
Yeah.
That access to everything is already within you. All you're doing is just getting in the right flow so you know how to access it. And thankfully for scientists like Joe Dispenza and Greg Braden and all of these kinds of stuff, there's so many beautiful meditation styles out there, and there's absolutely one for each one of you.
There is. Just do the expansion work, do the expressive work, do the investigation. You're worth it, worth it, worth it. Sometimes women say to me, Diane, well, I don't have time for that, Jeanine. I'm like, I'm a physician. I'm a scholar. I'm an architect. I'm an engineer. I'm a mom of 5. I'm a CEO. Yep. I don't have time to meditate. I'm saying to them, listen, you don't have time not to meditate. You cannot afford not to do it.
You got it. And not only that, I've asked my clients, how many hours a day are you stuck in worry?
That's it.
Fear and overwhelm. I bet it's more than the 20 minutes it takes for you to actually see chemical changes in your brain.
100%, 100%. We don't calculate that. How much time do you spend crying?
Yes.
How many times do you spend scrolling Instagram, numbing out? How much time do you spend on your couch, like with a tub of ice cream and a bottle of wine? How much time do you spend on the phone with friends complaining about what's not working? Calculate all those times. It's hours a week. If you're at a low point, hours a week. You can put in 20 minutes a day for your meditative practice.
And it really takes hold quicker than you think. I think that people are just, to me, it is part of that ego that is here to help you stay where you are. Your soul is calling you. If you're on this summit right now, you have been called by your soul to step into the leader that you are. And this is a beautiful way to do it.
That's spectacular. So let's hear some more about your solutions. You were in a toxic and abusive marriage. You were performative.
Oh, yes.
You were creating a facade at home, at work. You were worried about misleading your children, maybe not showing them the best example of love and connection, and keeping your word to yourself. And you were feeling low. You were saying, well, I'll die soon. That's a pretty strong stance to take towards your life. It'll be over soon.
So, and my physical health was, I was probably 40 pounds more than I am now, and was sick all the time.
Sick all the time, all the time. So you incorporated meditation. Is there something else that you did to actually create seismic shifts in your relationships?
Well, I would say that was the entry point, right? That is what calmed everything down. After that came a really consistent gratitude practice. After that, what happened was I was calm enough to see these doors of opportunities that said, check out this Dr. Dispenza book, that said, go do this training. I trained with Brendan Bouchard, that said, do this, do that. I never would have heard them before, ever. I just wouldn't. So I would say the gratitude work, I would say studying the mystics, because to me, I did not want my truth filtered. I wanted to understand what was the truth from love. And love is what I call universe, source, God, whatever you want to call it. What is that truth that wants to speak through me? And as I became involved in masterminds and did my work, and I mean, there is a very strict but fluid daily practice. I mean, I have a spiritual practice in the morning, and I teach the 3 M's to my clients, right? Meditate, move. And also, I just love the idea that we are inspired in the morning, right? So that inspiration or the motivational information, right? I don't have them turn on TV. Read your spiritual text.
That's right.
Get in touch with that. Start your day off like that, in love, in spirit. That moves you forward. And as I started doing that, everything shifted. Everything.
The way that you start when you open your eyes and come into consciousness is absolutely critical and crucial to the entire scope of your day and therefore your life. I mean, it sounds dramatic, but I cannot overstate it enough. And I'm in complete alignment with you. We call it literally creating a powerful, powerful start. Like it's a foundation. So you're engaged with, and I'm Christian at the Supreme Love Project, and we base our work on Christ consciousness. But any spiritual practice works. Like just open up a holy text, A Course in Miracles, the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, like whatever. If it's Eckhart Tolle, Iyanla Van Zandt, like wherever you are finding sustenance, that lights you up from the inside out and keeps your soul focused on energetic height,
Vibration.
raising up, on the vibration of abundance, the vibration of love, the vibration of health and wholeness. Get locked in at the beginning of your consciousness, like lock in, and then allow yourself to revert back to it all day long. When things pop up, when things seem to go wrong, you'll have your foundation to rely on. And go ahead, I know you want to say something.
Oh, I'm just so excited because I'm glad this is dramatic, because this is dramatic. This is life-changing. And I know lots of times people will see this is life-changing. I'm telling you, this is life-changing. The first thing that I do now for the last 4 years since I got them is, as soon as there is awareness, I'm starting to wake up, start to recite the principles.
Okay.
And may I share those with you?
Please, please.
Show me how to greet everyone with an open heart, without an agenda. And that everyone includes yourself.
Yeah.
Show me the divine essence in everyone and everything. 3 is forgive quickly, completely, and unconditionally. And the last one of the principles is remember you never left the light of the all. And I literally imagine me in this beautiful column of light. And because I knew we were going to be speaking today, you're in that light, because you're already in that light. We're in the all. We're individual sparks in this beautiful sea of light.
Just stopping to remember that, to recite that, to also situate yourself in that throughout the course of your day. It only takes minutes a day.
Minutes.
If you set yourself up for success, 20, 30 minutes, maybe an hour, if you can spare that for yourself at the beginning of your day. The checkpoints along the course of your day take minutes. You can stop for 60 seconds and think about those principles.
Or the one that you want. Yeah.
Or the one that you want. Of course. Of course.
So if you're going to go into, if I'm going into a situation where there might be a confrontation, I realize I'm reacting ego to ego. So if I just put my hand on my heart and say, show me how to greet this person with an open heart without an agenda, everything shifts.
Yeah.
Everything
shifts.
Everything.
Everything shifts. Just the questions enough to like light you up. Listen, this is fantastic. And now I would like to know about that free gift, because I want to know all about what you are going to bless us with so that we can go farther and higher, higher, higher in Relationships Rising.
Well, I really appreciate the opportunity to share what I call the Be Love Bundle. So everyone will be able to access meditations. There's an ebook that actually explains the process, what happened, how I got them. And then there's a workbook so that you can work through these processes. You know, what's a little unusual about my work is that I actually did a case study and followed people for 3 months. I actually have data that shows people become clearer, more connected. They have more self-love. They feel more at peace by doing these consistently. And it's my honor and privilege and joy to share it with you and your folks today. Thank you.
Well, we are gobbling it up, and we're going to share it with every single person who signs up for the Relationship Rising Summit, encourage them to really, really connect deeply with the power of the work. And I just want to thank you, Diane, for being here with us today, for your leadership, for sharing your experience, and just bless you.
Bless you, bless everyone who is ever going to see this work. And I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for the opportunity to share this.
It's been a glorious gift. Everybody, you know what to do. Make sure that you stay connected, and I'll see you on the next episode of the Relationship Rising Summit.